Welcome back, guys, to the F1 2022 career mode here with Ferrari. We've got a freeway title fight setting up and we're in Belgium. And I tell you what, we went for a different strategy this weekend. Instead of going for straight line speed, we're actually going for a bit more downforce. Now, it is going to affect us throughout qualifying, but the good news is the simple fact that there's rain scheduled for Sunday. But right now the conditions are dry, so it's going to be interesting to see what we can do. But as you can see, we go through the final chicane. We're in practice here, trying to dial in a setup, but I eventually just risked it for a biscuit and went for the middle of the road, where we've got decent enough straight line speed, but not exactly what everyone else will probably be running, because I'm hoping that these guys are going to bottle it when it comes to the race. But as you can see, even with no straight line speed, really, we're still second fastest, but I think it just shows you that us as Ferrari have a wee bit of an advantage this weekend. We go across the line. It is a 1:44.1. We advance through easily. Next time around, we do a 43.8. We're flying. We managed to get fastest there by 7 tenths in qualifying too. And then sadly, in the Q3, I can't even remember what happened. I think it was on my phone or something, and I just forgot. I know, championship on the line, and you do a mistake like that. It's kind of unforgivable, if we're being honest. But now, it is time to start this Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc, I believe, is starting behind us, I think. He got a penalty, I don't even know what for, but we're on lap 1. We need to go for it here. Hopefully, with these conditions, we should have pace, but there was a problem at this track. No matter what happened, no matter the conditions in this race, the exit we got out of turn 1, we were losing about 8 tenths. And that's got nothing to do with straight line speed. Now, the engine was a bit damaged, but at the same time, you'd still think, because like in a straight line we weren't bad, it was the exit of turn 1 pretty much alone. And when you're losing that a lap, yes, you can gain some back through the middle sector, but it practically makes overtaking impossible. But we managed to get the job done there on Lewis Hamilton. We move up to P5. Up next is George Russell here. Can we think about doing it? And when the wet tyres were fresh, I was an absolute machine. I was overtaking everybody. But the problem is, I don't know if it's... I think it is to do with the fact I play on controller. Apparently that eats through your wet tyres. And after like 4 laps, the tyres basically become undrivable. Like, you just lock up at every corner. I don't know what it is, but that's pretty much what happens, and it's not exactly good. As we move on to lap 6, Lando Norris is behind us, but the Red Bulls have pulled a massive gap, and we've just got no pace. Like, we're still decent enough through the middle sector, but here's an example, right? We break into turn 1 when we normally would, but because they're a bit warm, once you lock up in the wet, you're going straight on. There's like pretty much no avoiding it. We lose a position there to Lando Norris. We even damaged the floor coming over there. Moving on a lap later, again, like our tyres just locking up. We've got like literally no grip. We lose a position to George Russell. Lewis Hamilton now is probably going to be next. But then I thought, fuck it, we'll pit. But then at this point, the tyres are still going to go off. So realistically, these tyres are probably going to go off before the end. But we overtake Lance Stroll. Next up is Sebastian Vettel. Sebastian Vettel, though, 1.8 down the road. But you can just tell, as soon as we got the fresh rubber here, we are just a different animal, man. The pace is just there, but we still have the problem in the first sector. We just can't get a launch out of turn 1. Next up, though, is Guan Yu Zhou. We're right up his gearbox here. We're 15th out of 20th, though, which isn't exactly spectacular, but we're pitted before everyone, so we could potentially do an undercut on a few of the drivers we were battling. Norris might be too far ahead, though. But we look at this, even at the final corner, it's not insane, but like, I mean, he's pulling a good gap there, but we fuck it up, late break it, Guan Yu Zhou hits us, and then actually Sebastian Vettel overtakes us, but we managed to get back through on Sebastian Vettel. We managed to out-drag him up the hill somehow. Don't know how, but there's a yellow flag ahead, but look at this, Vettel's actually coming back at us, but we are in the second phase, we're getting him. As George Russell is the car to retire. Not good for Mercedes, but we've moved up to P13 with that now. Moving on to lap 13, a few drivers have pitted. It looks like we're going to come out in P4. We even fuck up turn 1, man. Bounce over the curb, but Lando Norris is clear down the road. Hamilton is a wee bit, but even at this point, the tyres are done. So after a few laps, our bloody tyres are done. But Sergio Perez His engine is also done, and it's blew up in spectacular fashion at the top of the hill. Look, Norris in behind, and there we go. The smoke is pouring out. Moving on to lap 14, we've got Albon and Hamilton behind us. Verstappen looks like he's won. Albon looking for a manoeuvre, but he's clipped the back ace and he's out of the race. Very similar to Schumacher Coulthard in 98, but I don't know what he was going for here. I mean, look at this. He's behind us. He just drives straight into the back of us. Like, yes, we're going slow, but it's because I've got no grip left. And at this point, guys, I decided to take a risk. We pit it. But not only did we pit it for the intermediate tyre. And of course, the intermediate tyre, you know, these conditions look really bad. But the engineer was saying it's mixed conditions. And I just felt like, well, hopefully the intermediate will be quicker. And even if it's not quicker, hopefully it lasts longer. Because that's the problem with the wet. It's lasted me like 4 laps. So hopefully we can get 6 good laps of it. But Yuki Tsunoda, we overtake him. I'll admit the first couple of laps in the Inters weren't exactly spectacular. But as you can see, through these parts of the track, we've just got so much more pace than everyone. But I do think it was getting a bit lighter, the rain. Or maybe it was just the fact the car was getting lighter on fuel. So it just seemed like it was helping us big time. But we overtake Carlos Sainz. We're up into P9. Next up, Kevin Magnussen. Hopefully we can get him. But as you can see, this is just an example here. So like we're right behind, like, we're right up his gearbox. And then look, goes for 3 tenths there, 4, and then look at the gap, 6 tenths, 7 tenths, 8 tenths, 9 tenths, and like, what chance have you got, realistically, of like launching an attack? Yes, we gain back through our Rouge, but it's just because of our tyres we're gaining, nothing to do with it. The exit speed is horrendous, but Magnussen goes defensive. But we hang it around the outside, just on superior tyres at this point, man. We're absolutely flying. Our fastest lap now, we have got the fastest lap of the race, Ocon, and it's at this point, I think, the intermediates just came into a working range that were absolutely great. We go right around the outside of Ocon, making it very easy. We have to wait to the next lap though to get Schumacher just due to like the end of the final sector and the first sector being so slow, but we get past Mick Schumacher and up the road is Leclerc and Ricciardo, but we're catching. Look at it, we're going purple. And we go on to the last lap, we do a 58.3, we overtake our teammate, and personally, if our teammate let us through, I think we would have got Danny Ricciardo, but he didn't. And Danny Ricciardo, he's 6 tenths down. I try an audacious dive bomb here. I'm surprised I didn't get a penalty. I damaged the wing. Even through the final quarter, I damaged it even more. But Ricciardo looks like he's going to hold on to P4. Leclerc tries to outdrag us to the line, but yeah, I think the wing actually falling off gave us a bit of a boost. But as you can see, I mean, it's a bit of a disaster because Verstappen's won and Ferrari haven't really did good. Even though we started pretty low down, I feel like there was more to do in that race, but the standings are as follows. We're 31 points behind. Leclerc is 25 points behind, so we need Verstappen to have a shiter, guys. But until next time, that is going to do it for the Belgian Grand Prix, and peace.